What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to the hobby headquarters here at the Hollywood Rip Studio, powered by Celsius Live Fit Tropical Vibe, of course. Thanks for joining us as always. I'm Mr. Hollywood. To my right, Joe Nasty, and what a week! A $1 million Wembenyama card was hit. Ohtani is exclusive with Topps, and someone got duped into buying a $7,500 Brock Purdy RPA that was damaged to the moon. All of that coming at you on this week's show, but let's start with Topps Chrome Basketball, and I guess we'll talk a little bit about Topps Chrome Composite Football. This is the first time that Topps has released Topps Chrome has released a basketball or football product in 15 years. So, big deal. Of course, they are preparing to have the license for both football and basketball in the next 2 years. So it's good to get kind of an idea of what these cards are going to look like. But what are the big chases? Well, Wembenyama, among others. We had Victor Wembanyama, we had Jaime Jaquez, we had Scoot Henderson. All these guys were not signing in Panini products this year because they're Fanatics exclusive. So you can get their autographs out of this unlicensed Topps Chrome. That's kind of the big draw. On the football side, we're talking C.J. Stroud, we're talking Bryce Young, we're talking Will Levis. These are autographs that you can get out of Topps Chrome Composite that you cannot get out of, say, Panini Prism or Panini Select. And so that's a big deal. They are unlicensed, so they let's be honest, they don't look good.
No, cheap.
They just look off without having the logos, let's be honest. But, of course, they sold out like in an instant. The Topps site crashed, as always, when ordering these things. They were actually very reasonably priced. They were like $280 a box. They were reselling for like double that, which is pretty wild. But the big news is that the Victor Wembanyama rookie Superfractor autograph out of Topps Chrome Basketball had a $1 million bounty on it from Blaze Sports Cards. I actually physically ran into Blaze at the card show last weekend. But that card was actually pulled on day 2. It was pulled in China, and it was not pulled by a breaker.
Just a fan?
It was pulled by just someone who just bought a box.
Where in China?
I really don't know.
Shanghai?
It could be Shanghai.
Beijing?
It could be Beijing. If you want to keep listing cities, I could say it could be that, but I'm not sure.
Is Peking a city?
No, I think that's just a type of duck.
That's why I was wondering.
But anyways, this Wemby 1/1 Superfractor auto was hit. And my question to you is, would you take the $1 million bounty? Would you shop it to see if there's anyone who would pay more than $1 million for it? Would you keep it in hopes that one day it's like a $5 million card if he actually ends up being that good?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And then my follow-up question is, these bounties are issued to kind of spur on the sales of a product, but when the bounty gets hit on day 2 and they haven't had the chance to sell so much product, does paying $1 million for this affect that business model? Do you know what I mean? Do they regret saying, "Oh, I just gave away $1 million, but now I've only had 2 days to sell, and I've only sold 200,000 of it.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to?" Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%, because then it sort of curtails the chase.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Well, because these boxes now are, without question, overnight, are going to drop in price by probably 40 to 50%.
Yeah. So, but that's the nature of the business, right? You want the people putting that out there, because 9 times out of 10, I assume that this isn't going to happen on day 2.
Right.
Maybe somewhere around the Great Wall. I'm still figuring it out. So that the first question you posed is really interesting. Would I sell it right away for $1 million? I'm going to say yes. Because I just think there's...
Minimum.
Yeah, I would, don't get me wrong. I would play people back and forth. Like, oh, well, this guy said $1 million.
Yeah,
what you got?
You got to play people like a fiddle on this one.
Oh, like a enormous fiddle. Maybe an expensive fiddle. You would know better than me. But big time violinist right here. One of the best West LA schools I've ever seen. So that being said, but it's the whole, like, do I hold on to it for his potential Hall of Fame, All-Star, whatever career. There's just so many variables, and like I'm not a big variables kind of guy, so I'm going with the right now and just if it is what it is, then I think I could live with that because.
So you're gonna sell it to whoever is willing to give you the most.
At this time, yes, as opposed to waiting 10 years and waiting for the decline.
And what do you think of this affecting, say, the business model of bounties? Because clearly people offer bounties in order to spur the sales of a product, but when this happens, I guess you could say this usually doesn't happen. So in the grand scheme of things, it's probably okay.
Yeah, that's probably my hot take.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to affect it too much because 90% of the time, this does not happen unless it happens. Well, I was going to say Hong Kong, but that's a little. It's dicey, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm pretty much with you. If it's
pretty
me,
much though.
If it's me, I would probably, if I bought a box of Topps Chrome on the Topps release day website for $280, and I pulled a Victor Wembanyama that superfractor that we showed you on the screen earlier. I would have a hard time looking at myself in the mirror and saying, you know what, I just spent $280 and I have a guaranteed 7-figure payout.
Yeah.
Like, even if he ends up being one of the best 5 players ever.
It's fine.
Sure, maybe it is a $5 million card down the road, but I'm probably not going to say no to $1 million tomorrow.
I know. It's the whole thing, like instant gratification versus waiting. I feel like there's something existential that we're passing over here.
I think there's too much risk at $1 million. I think this bounty is totally different if it was $250,000.
Sure.
If this bounty was $250,000, I would probably keep this card. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree with that.
I would probably keep it, but because it's $1 million,
500,000. Oh.
500,000, I would probably sell it.
You would?
I probably would. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably would.
I probably would too. It's a lot of money.
I probably would. But that's probably like my lowest amount that I would sell versus hold.
Then would you buy a CT scanner?
No,
like we would never.
A few $100,000 or something. Yeah, no, absolutely not.
We would never.
Anyways, we're going to move on to our next hobby story of the week, and that is centering around Dodgers DH/pitcher Shohei Ohtani.
One of these days, he'll be a pitcher.
Yeah, he will be a pitcher again one day. But Shohei has signed a long-term exclusive deal with Topps, now remember, he was already exclusive to Fanatics for memorabilia.
So jerseys,
balls, bats, things of that nature. But now Shohei is exclusive with Topps for trading cards. What that means is you will no longer see Ohtani's autograph in any Panini, Leaf, or any other product besides a Fanatics product, like Topps, like Bowman, things of that nature. This is just, look, Fanatics has just been obsessing essentially over having a monopoly over everything. Yeah. They seem to have all the exclusive deals for all the big athletes. Just another step in that direction for them.
Right.
I actually, to be honest with you, I actually kind of like it. I don't like the idea that we are always going back and forth between, what are the pros and cons between Panini and Topps and licensed versus unlicensed and this and so for me, honestly, this just kind of streamlines everything, and we just know that once all the licenses are with Fanatics, we just know that, look, this is simple. The only products to buy are Topps products and Bowman products. That's it, because that's where the upside is. Right? That's where the licensing is. That's where the big rookie autographs are.
Right.
I honestly, I like this play. I think Ohtani is obviously an international superstar. But what do you think of Ohtani being fully exclusive now, trading card-wise, as well?
Yeah, I'm going to give a little light pushback on this in the sense of that I just think different entities pushing against each other makes each other great. I mean, Fanatics has, and again, I'm sort of going existential here, as opposed to like breaking it down scientifically and business-wise. I just think that Fanatics and Topps have a monopoly on everything. They even have a monopoly on like entertainers. They have a Travis Scott
it's true.
trading card. You know what I mean? So I just think that Monopoly is getting even more of a monopoly, whatever that term is.
Right.
A double monopoly. I don't think you can get lazy when you already control everything. And so I just believe you need someone to push you to be great. And so that's just where I come out on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, pushing you to be great, obviously. Having competition is always a good thing, generally speaking.
Right. This is sort of like it from the heart kind of.
Yeah, but in this case, obviously, people aren't going to have a choice because Fanatics just has so much more money than everyone else.
They won, so that's what's happening here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens, but I think this is a good move in terms of obviously for Fanatics, it's a good move to have Ohtani's exclusivity in everything. I think for Ohtani, it's much easier too because let's be honest, these athletes are asked to sign thousands of cards and jerseys and whatever. Shohei now just has to go to like once or twice a year, got to go to a day with Fanatics where they're going to ask him to sign 5,000 things. And he's not having to do a Panini signing. He's not having to do with it. So I think this makes a lot of sense, even from a performance perspective for the athlete.
Mr. Privacy is going to appreciate the fact that he knows where he's going. And
100%. So
does he get invited to a white party now?
I think the door's wide open if Shohei wants to go to a white party.
But it's during the summer, right?
There's also I feel like no chance he actually goes.
Well, he's playing, so it's tough.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we're going to move to our next hobby topic of the week, and that is involving a card show scandal. Surprise, surprise, card show happens, and there's a scandal. But this one happened at a show that I was at. This was the Burbank Card Show.
What did you do?
It was not me,
Oh.
I promise. But a Brock Purdy, National Treasures RPA, numbered to 99. We'll show it on the screen now. You can see it right there. This card is probably like a $10,000 card, let's say.
What?
You can see the sticker on the bottom right corner there, listed for $7,500. So the dealer who ended up picking this up, I think actually ended up paying a little less than $7,500. I think he ended up paying in the sixes somewhere, and thought he got an absolute steal. So he goes home, takes the sticker off, and we'll show it on the screen, but this is what the card actually looked like underneath that sticker. You can see there's a huge kind of dent in the side of it. It is really, really pushed in. The buyer did not see that, of course, until after he removed the sleeve with the price tag. Just to give you an idea, the last PSA authentic card that was sold that was damaged, it wasn't even damaged this bad. The comp for it was like $3,500 or $4,000. So this guy essentially, in a snap, lost several $1,000s because he didn't notice it. The vendor then claimed that he had bought the card from someone 45 minutes earlier, and that's where the sticker came from. He claimed he did not put that on. Now, the buyer is working with the Burbank Card Show and Burbank Sports Cards to figure out what the heck happened with this. But, and I think the dealer actually was, apparently the dealer was a very stand-up guy and offered this guy a couple $1,000s in cards to like make up for this and say like, I'm sorry, I really didn't know.
That's nice of him.
So to be honest with you, I believe the dealer because more often than not, if you're dealing at a card show and you deal at a lot of card shows and you have that sort of, and that's how you're approaching stuff, people know. Like, you don't, like, do you know what I mean? I think the people that are walking in from the public are more likely to pull shady crap like this than a dealer. And so I believe that the dealer didn't do this, but it's just, it's so tough and it sucks to see. But, and I give props to the guy who bought it. He said, look, this is entirely my fault. I didn't take it out. I didn't inspect it.
Very true.
And so it sucks to see, sure. But, and so it's a lesson for a lot of people. When you're buying cards that say authentic especially, there's a reason that it is graded authentic and it does not have a number grade. You need to inspect those cards further. What are your thoughts on this one?
It is like kind of surprised the guys being willing to give back. But I think to your point, everyone sort of has a reputation at these things, right? So he's going to continue to go around the country or wherever. And if he walks in and people start whispering like they're in Mean Girls, hey, that's the guy who, he sold the busted,
The guy who sold the busted bird.
Yeah. I mean, someone did something wrong here, undoubtedly.
Yeah, and I don't think it was the dealer.
I don't think so either. I think it's the guy he got it from. But honestly, my first reaction, to me, this is sort of what you get, though, for thinking that anything Brock Purdy related is worth 75. You tell me, is Brock Purdy stuff really that hot?
Yeah.
Do people not realize what's happening here with Brock Purdy? Where's the value in the former Cyclone?
The fact that he's young and going to Super Bowls and has probably the best supporting cast of anyone around him.
But that's not him. Like, do you want a Trent Dilfer rookie card?
No, but Trent Dilfer isn't.
He actually won a Super Bowl. And he got carried by a great roster.
You're just saying that you don't think Brock Purdy is that good.
I don't think he's all that in a bag of chips, no.
Yeah.
I think he's
But that's a separate topic from this. You know?
It's a separate topic, but it's more in the realm of if you're really spending that much on Brock Purdy, anything, maybe reevaluate how you think about who you should be buying.
Yeah, but I think the way this guy was thinking about it, and I get it, is the Niners have just as good a shot as anyone to get to the Super Bowl out of that conference, they've shown.
Don't you think that this is, that's not the conversation. I think the guy got done dirty. I think it was two people before, and it's bad.
I mean, look, this came down to comps. He looked at comps. He saw that this was a steal, rightly so, because it was so messed up, right? But the guy thought it was a good buy. The Niners are probably a lock to make another deep run in the playoffs.
They'll make the NFC Championship.
If Purdy gets to another NFC Championship or Super Bowl, this card is an easy flip. That's why he did it. I get it. It doesn't necessarily mean he thinks that Purdy is going to be the next Tom Brady. For me, I understand why he did it. You got to look at your cards, guys. You have to do a better job at looking at what you're buying, especially if it's raw and especially if it is graded authentic by any grading company.
Did people get this worked up over Jimmy G? No. And he's more handsome.
Yeah, but that was like before the hobby exploded.
All right. Well, I'm just saying.
I hear what you're saying, but totally different. Different because Brock Purdy is like playing in Super Bowls.
So did Jimmy G.
They
played an equal amount.
It's different. It's different. But we're going to move into our MLB update of the week. The Yankees are a game and a half up on the Orioles. The Cleveland Guardians, man, I almost say Indians every time.
Yeah. You watch a lot of Major League.
Yeah, the Guardians are up 2.5 games. Houston has opened up a 5-game lead on the Mariners. That's looking like the Mariners are looking pretty kaput at this point. They're sort of sputtering. Although J-Rod has looked good the past week.
He always looks good.
Not true. The Phillies, 6 games up in the East. Milwaukee, 9.5 up in the Central. And the Dodgers, after being just 2.5 up last week at one point, have really turned on the bats. And coincidentally, it comes with a lot of offensive weapons coming back into the lineup. But the Dodgers now 6 games up on the Diamondbacks and the Padres. Just yesterday, for the first time...
It was the first time. I thought so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the first time, but also, like, how many games have they actually played
that's a good point.
all together?
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman led off the game with back-to-back-to-back jacks.
Unbelievable.
Pretty freaking sweet, whether you're a Dodgers fan or not, let's be honest. That's, like, pretty epic, because I think most people would probably say that this 1-2-3 might be the best 1-2-3 put together since, like, Murderer's Row.
I'll have to think about it. I mean, when the Yankees had like A-Rod and Jeter, but like it's
yeah,
different.
but it's like it's in that sentence, right? Mm-hmm. You had like the dominant Yankees of the early 2000s that had those guys all like back to back to back, and of course you had Murderer's Row back in like the 20s. I mean, but in terms of the modern 2010s plus era,
for sure,
this is for sure the best 1-2-3 we've ever seen. For sure, for sure. And I want to talk a little bit about Shohei Ohtani's pursuit of 50 homers and 50 stolen bases versus Aaron Judge's pursuit of 60 home runs again.
I would love to.
And I think this is really fascinating because, yes, a 50-50 season has never been done before. But Ohtani is already sitting at 44-43. A 43-43 season had never been done before. So he has already broken the record, let's say. Everything now is kind of cherry on top for Shohei and just trying to hit the 50 number because it's a sexier number than 43.
Round numbers,
right?
Nice. Yeah.
But Aaron Judge is, and I don't want to say Aaron Judge is quietly having like the best offensive season in the past 10, 15 years.
Not anymore.
But I hear, and maybe it's because we're on the West Coast, I hear so much more hype about when Ohtani steals a base or hits a home run than when Judge hits a home run at this point. Like, I feel like people, and we saw this in some of Judge's cards, they were like down 2% last week, right? Ohtani's were not. People just seem to care more about Ohtani's 50-50 chase than Judge's 60 home run chase. And I wanted to get your opinion on this. Like, why do you think that is? And like, which one do you personally think is more impressive?
Yeah. Also, do you remember when the stuff went down with the interpreter and Ohtani was going to have a really bad year because he was so worked up emotionally?
Right.
Yeah. That didn't quite work out.
Crazy.
That feels like ages ago.
I know.
To me, it sort of boils... I was thinking about this last night because you sent this over to me, like the question, you posed the question, and I thought about it. And it's not really a very like in-depth answer, but to me it boils down to one thing. Aaron Judge, I've never once heard him speak and thought, that was a good use of my time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's an amazing hitter.
He's boring.
He's amazingly boring. Cool. We've seen this before.
He's not marketable.
But something we just mentioned before, right, about Ohtani and Topps, he's an enigma. We don't know Shohei Ohtani. He's showing the most personality he's ever shown, and he's still very withdrawn.
Which is still like almost nothing. I would argue that Judge shows more personality than
He
Ohtani.
shows more personality, and we don't want that.
But it's almost just because Judge speaks English.
100%. Yeah, but that's working, and at least in this conversation, it's working against him.
Right.
Ohtani is still a myth, but we're seeing it in real time. Nothing he does, everything he does is amazing, and you can't believe it.
Yeah.
We've seen power hitters hit home runs once every 2 days. It's still really, really cool, and Judge's season is one for the history books. But truly, everything Ohtani does is like mythical. But yet we see it on video, and we can't believe it. I think that, and there's also the elephant in the room that he's pushed by an international wave of enthusiasm. So that's it's big man boring, Japanese man interesting. You know, it's not
like the
very...
man of mystery versus like the dude that only comes out of his shell like once every.
I mean, Aaron Judge. The most interesting thing about him is that he got new teeth a couple years ago. Right?
I suppose. I mean, what's crazier about this whole scenario is like Shohei Ohtani is still recovering from Tommy John surgery. So like he is physically he has not been 100% the entire year. And I know it's like, sure, that Tommy John affects your pitching a lot more. And sure, I know this would be way different if Shohei was a right-handed batter than a left-handed batter.
Perhaps.
But let me now ask you this.
Oh, okay.
Imagine, because a lot of people don't really realize, Shohei is actually second in all of baseball in stolen bases.
Right.
In all of baseball.
I think that's what gets lost. He's also a humongous man.
That's what gets. But what also gets lost is he's not like blazingly fast.
No, just
he's not. You watch him run, and it's kind of like he kind of looks like a tank running out there. You know, he's just he just the way he looks at the game and the way he gets his jumps are just, he does everything at like a level that is beyond comprehension. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
Imagine, I'm just going to assume that Ohtani, let's just imagine that Ohtani has a similar season to this offensively next year.
While pitching.
Let's say he takes the mound.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the Dodgers win a lot of games. They give a lot of run support, generally speaking. Let's say Ohtani were to go 50-50 next year and then go 18 wins with a 3 ERA and strike out 200.
Sure. Let's imagine.
Let's imagine. But the crazy thing is that's not out of the realm of reason.
It's conceivable.
It's conceivable. It's unlikely, but it's conceivable.
No one's ever done 50-50 before, so it seems unlikely he'd do it while also pitching.
Yeah, but his pace this year is 54-53.
Right. But
so
what's the question?
The question is if Ohtani puts up 50-50 next year or close to, and say 15 to 18 wins with a 3 ERA, strikes out darn close to 200.
Okay.
Say the Dodgers win a World Series.
Okay.
Just humor me.
Sure.
Is Ohtani the greatest player of all time?
I think a lot of it depends on what happens this year.
Or, furthermore, is he the rarest athlete in sports history?
Oh, he already is.
You think he already is?
Yeah. I mean, he's done amazing things. He's just been with a putrid franchise down in Anaheim. It's the exit velocity. It's the 100 miles per hour out of his arm. It is the sprint speed for a man who's, 6'4"? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's already the rarest athlete of all time. Rare.
Yeah.
So all that coming next year, I think if you're asking about prestige and historical places,
right.
I think a lot of that depends on this year because he's going to win MVP.
Yeah.
He's already doing things that have never been done before, but he's about to, again, elephant in the room, he's about to go into the playoffs for the first time ever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be determined.
But again,
and then maybe he has
go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe he has an Undertaker type cameo out of the bullpen or something in the World Series.
Yeah. Oh my! Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
But again, Aaron Judge is about to hit 60 plus for the second year in a row, which I consider the true record. Honestly,
sure.
I considered the true record to be 61, which he broke 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Right. So Aaron Judge is, in my opinion, chasing the biggest record in baseball, in all of baseball. Yet here we are, not talking about it.
I do think it's West Coast, East Coast. To be honest, I think a little bit.
A little bit, maybe a little bit.
I think 40%.
I don't know.
40%. What do you? Let us know in the comments.
What do you guys think about the whole Judge and Ohtani thing? I mean,
they're both amazing.
Yeah, they're both incredible, but I think just the fact that we are now essentially seeing the tip of the iceberg, essentially, for Shohei.
I mean,
because we're missing half of him.
I'm looking at the jersey you have over there. He's hit 46 home runs in a season, and he's had a 3 ERA. We've sort of seen it. It's. He's done these amazing things already. He's already the most unique athlete we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'm being hyperbolic to a degree, but maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, look, Ohtani stuff has exploded in price. I'm still under the conclusion that I still think his stuff is criminally undervalued. I really do. Even his RPAs that are $10,000, I still think criminally undervalued.
Everything he does is dramatic and amazing. The 40-40 thing was crazy.
And Ohtani doesn't have to say a word and he's marketable. That's how much of a unicorn he is. But that'll wrap things up for us here at the Hollywood Rip Studio. Thanks for watching Hobby Headquarters once again. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. It really helps you boys out. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood, that's Joe Nasty, and we are out.